This is a guide on how to fix either a bricked Nvidia shield or just to simply add root with a custom operating system to an existing working shield. To start off with, you're going to want to have your USB hub plugged into the port that's closest to your HDMI cable. We're going to have a USB-C cable plugged into this other end, but we're not going to plug it into our PC just yet. There are two items that you're going to need. The number one item is an Nvidia Shield controller. You're also going to need some sort of a portable drive. The first step on any device is you're going to want to go ahead and remove the power cord and just simply re-add it. And on your Nvidia controller, you just hold A and B down. And it doesn't have to be at the same time you plug the cord in or anything crazy. It can be a few seconds after. You hold them down until this screen comes up. Now you're going to want to navigate down to Unlock Bootloader and hit A and confirm. Okay, now after we've unlocked the bootloader, we want to go down to Factory Data Reset, confirm, hit Reboot, and then remove the power cable from the shield and then remove the cable from your PC. This just corrects the logic in the fast boot, because if you don't do that step, for some reason it's not going to allow you to unlock the OEM bootloader. So you'll go ahead and plug it back in, boot into the bootloader, and then that should allow you to run your commands without any trouble. And the reason why we did that is because if we plug the USB-C into the computer, we will be able to see a new option called, well, for you it might not say Android device. You're probably going to see an unknown device. Regardless, you're going to see a new option. We'll want to right click, hit update driver, then click browse my computer, and we're going to navigate over to shield root, and then you need to hit let me pick. Then down here you hit have disk, hit browse, and you select the Android USB, and then hit OK. This will open this option for you all, and then you'll hit ABI, next, and we're gonna hit yes. And what this is doing is it's allowing our computer to be able to talk to the Nvidia Shield, because otherwise we would not be able to send commands in the fast boot or Adb. So this essentially fully unlocks the bootloader for us. So now after you have this installed, you can go ahead and run OEM unlock, and you'll see that it'll just go ahead and unlock it. And then the next step is we're going to run shield root. Run through its commands here, and basically what this is doing is it's installing Nvidia's developer system image, which is going to give us full access to all the partitions and full root on all systems. We just have to unlock it. And I've made a series of batch files to make it easier for everyone to unlock it, so that we can get some more awesome developers out there looking at this great system. While the system's flashing onto the shield, you'll see a please wait icon, so do so. It'll take quite a few minutes, so just let it run. When your device boots, it'll let you know that everything went through correctly, because you'll see that your bootloader is now unlocked. With this script that I put in there, it's purposely bricking your system if your system is already working. in the fact that it's going to boot directly into TeamWin, which is what we're going to use to allow us to install our custom operating system and to flash over the root and gaps should you choose to install them. So at this point you're going to have a mouse or you're not going to be able to proceed any further. So I'm going to plug mine in real quick. And you will need to have lineage and gaps saved over to your drive. That is what that folder is for in the shield root. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit install. And we're going to go down here to select storage. And you will hit USB OTG. It may show as 0 megs, but as soon as you click on it, it should. Now I numbered these for a reason, because Lineage needs to be installed first. So go ahead and install that. We'll just hit swipe to confirm. The second part is gaps, and what gaps is this Google Apps, and that's going to have your functionality for your controller, for your remote, for the Nvidia Shield. Gaps has your Play Store and other various Google apps. Most users are going to prefer to have gaps installed, so I highly recommend that if you don't even know what gaps means, go ahead and install it. Those that wouldn't want to install it are possibly pen testers or developers that are working on custom operating systems or ROMs, etc. The next step is, after it finishes, we're going to go ahead and click up here at the top left where it says install zip. Click on that icon up there and it'll back you up, and you can hit install again and go ahead and flash over gaps. I went ahead and downloaded the minimal version of this, so this isn't the full stock version. It doesn't have that horrible launcher and a lot of the bloatware. Once gaps is installed, you'll again want to back out, but this time we're going to click on advanced and we're going to click on Adb Side Load. Once you turn this on, it allows you to use a fast boot feature on your computer called Adb Side Load. So we'll go through that. So you can see it's ready for us to go ahead and go on to the next step here. So we're gonna, right under Shield Root, we'll hit sideload our root app, and next we'll want to sideload our root manager. So by doing that, you're gonna see that we're pushing our root app on over to the system root level, and we're going to be pushing the manager over there the same way, and that way on our first boot we will be able to already have root access. We'll just have to set that up after we log in our first time setup, and then we'll get our developer options opened up so that we can use our ADB tools. So after the first side load, you have to do the same step. On the back button, you hit ADB Side Load, and then side load the other app. We'll side load Root Manager. It's unpacking everything without any trouble because we already installed the compatible system partition and got a completely open operating system. So we put our apps on there, and lastly we've added our ability to have root on boot. So now we're going to go ahead and reboot the system, and you'll notice that it will no longer boot in new boot loading screen. You'll see at LINEAGEOS custom bootloader. Forgot to mention, it'll probably get hung up after you hit reboot, so it's perfectly fine to just pull the power cord out. And you'll know you did it right because you'll kind of see a screen tear there, depending on how many peripherals you have plugged in. That just lets you know that it's getting ready to boot into something. If you did it wrong, it's going to boot into TWRP, but we obviously did it right because here's LINEAGEOS operating system. And since we installed gaps, it's going to go ahead and have us sign into Google. If you don't install gaps, the difference is it's just going to go ahead and load into Android, just like how your phone would look. It's just you won't have the extra steps of Google. But for those that want to develop, they'll probably want to have gaps, possibly the full stock version or a modified version. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up, and then we're going to go into loading the developers options and getting our pen testing and development apps, like the base apps. Okay, so we went through the first time setup with Google, and as you can see, we have a much cleaner presentation here. Step is we're going to go ahead and go over here to settings, go down to device preferences, hit about, and go all the way to the bottom to build. Hit it 7 times, and that will turn on developer options. You go back to device preferences and hit developer options. Now we're scrolling down to USB debugging. Okay, and we're gonna go into Adb Connect, and you're gonna want to go ahead and right click it and hit edit. And then you're going to want to type in that IP address that we just saw after we enabled network debugging. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go ahead and click Adb Connect, and you're going to see it's going to close. Now this will make this message appear, and you want to hit always allow. That way next time you won't have to do this step again. So we hit allow, and we need to hit Adb Connect one more time. And it'll quickly close because it just connected us. Okay, after we've done that, we're going to back out and back out again. Go up to apps. We need to hit see all apps. Go down to show system apps. And then we are going to look for Magisk. And it's right there. Oops. So we're going to click on Magisk. And then you want to hit open. And it's going to ask us to install it. And you're going to have to allow unknown sources so that it can install it. So you'll have to open it again, hit OK, and it's going to install Magisk for you. And then you can hit open, and you want to go ahead and hit OK. Okay, and once it's rebooted, we'll go ahead and do the same step to get to Magisk and to open it. And we're going to go ahead and install both of these packages here. This is where you'll need your mouse. So we'll want to go ahead and start with the first one. We'll hit allow. And then hit next. Direct install, and then let's go. And now it is going through the steps in adding all the dependencies to allow us to get root access. So we're going to go ahead and hit back and install the app so that we'll be able to have a manager. The manager allows super user to pop up and ask if you want to give root access to certain apps. So we've got all of that installed. Back out of the... You need to remember that every time it resets, until I can figure out a workaround, or maybe you'll have to go into developer options every time and just make sure that you turn on the over network part. Otherwise, your tools on Shield Root will not work. Okay, and after we've connected, we're going to go ahead and run push apps. And it'll install all of our apps for us. Now it may sit there and flash for a while depending on whatever apps you're trying to install. This is just the apps that I would like to have on my build, and if you're following my guide, then you're building my ROM, the JROM. So that's going to include Explorer and Wolf Launcher. When it's done, you should be able to go over to apps, and you will see only a few of those new apps. So we need to go ahead and click on Wolf Launcher, and we're gonna go over to Root Explorer and just verify that we have root, which we do. So we need to grant it. Do not let the timer run down or you'll have to reinstall this. So go ahead and grant it, and you have provably installed root access on your device, and you now have a capable browser to do anything you want with this system. You can change it to whatever you need, and you can essentially do whatever you want. We'll look at some of these other tools on our Shield Root folder. First one we'll demonstrate, which is show you that you're able to boot into the bootloader just by the click of this button while you're running your system. So I clicked that, and it forced the system to reboot, and now it's going to go ahead and boot into the bootloader without me having to press the controller. Let's see, and there we go. Within your bootloader, you have your options here. Like if you want to boot TWRP for any reason, you can just hit this button, and that will allow you to run TWRP. And you're able to go ahead and flash over anything you would like to your current system. And it's not just depending on what you're doing, it's not necessarily going to destroy it. You're also able to restore your system, etc. So you could save your system by restoring it. Eventually I'm going to try to make a ROM where you can easily just install it, but I couldn't get it to work appropriately. I will work on that further later. But once you reboot it to the system, once it loads, just remember to enable the ADB network option again. And I'm going to demonstrate the last of our tools. Sure. So just add Wolf Launcher. You'll have to open it, and then you'll have full access to your areas. I'll figure out how to fix the launcher later, or somebody could help me. Thank you. Okay, so final thoughts here. Or rather, one final thing I'd like to show you is that in the Shield Root folder, you can right click on push apps and hit edit, and you see where it has install 1, install 2, etc. You can add more commands in there and save it. And all you have to do is paste any apps you want to install in here and name them like number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. That being said, I plan on making my own ROM with some more tools on here for those that like to do pen testing, or developers that would like to explore more on the Google TV stock app gaps. We'll see what all we can do here. Thank you.